right, today is still Sunday, July 13th. And shout out to my hot pink shirt and Sisters Who Shine. I never have been a real pink person, but since we started Sisters Who Shine and the Sassy Taurus, I've been wearing a lot of pink. And one day maybe I'll talk a little bit about hiding myself and not expressing my femininity and all of those things. But since I didn't write it down, I'm not gonna just go off the dome on that subject. But that's a whole story of going around and not embracing my femininity and hiding. So today, shout out to me for having my nice pink on. And speaking of beauty, I do want to talk about, and I need to talk to Janina because I still don't know how to pronounce her name correctly, but I think it's Khaleesi now. And shout out to her for loving my posts and loving my stories, and the support is phenomenal, especially when you have a flying monkey saying, no, worry about your job. And so I want to say that the first thing I saw in my feed this morning was a beautiful video of a canvas of a flower that you painted. And so shout out to you. That was a stunning thing to wake up to this morning. And everybody go and follow her, buy her art, Galic. Oh, I'll post it in the caption. All right, I'm at 2 minutes. So the other thing I want to say is that last night I was having fun, and I will post some pictures and videos later as a supplement to this vlog to give you some context and some visuals for what I experienced. And what I would say is that even though at first I was a little bit nervous about going in, as soon as I went in, everybody was super friendly. I was super early. I mean, I got there, the event started at 6. I got there at 6:30, but I was still one of the first people to arrive. But rather than let that deter me or be disturbed by the fact that no one else was there at the time that I got there except for the event organizers, I got in the pool. And so I was having an amazing time. I was at peace. I was enjoying it. And then finally, they had us go sit down to start painting. And I was cool for a while. But then I also posted a mini video or a short video that I recorded before I went into the event. And it'll give you a little bit more context. But I ended up getting triggered by all the people in the event who were smoking blunts. And there's a whole story for another day about that, but I ended up getting triggered. All of a sudden, these memories started coming back to me about growing up in Oakland, going to places like the Rick James concert, and going to other concerts and seeing people fighting, seeing people getting stomped, running from gunshots at these parties and concerts. And so all these memories just started flooding back. And I started thinking, wow, an event like this in Oakland would have been something that I would have been scared to go to because I would have been scared of violence. So there's a whole story about how I ran away from Oakland pretty much as soon as I finally could. And how I was very traumatized by the violence there and my experience growing up in Oakland, which maybe I'll talk about one day. So last night I got triggered. I started feeling my stomach shaking and I had anxiety. Now, it did get better once the food was served, and shout out to Mona's Kitchen for serving some fire hibachi. But the other thing is that I also forgot my water bottle in the car, and my water bottle, the water in it was not cold, and I love cold water. They had water at the event, but they didn't have ice. And so I really just didn't set myself up for success, because between getting triggered, I have a Ricola. That helps me from my throat getting dry. But I didn't have my water, which I usually always carry with me and need. And then on top of that, I got triggered by the blunt smoking. And then the music started feeling really loud. And it was just like, whoo, I got to get out of here. So one of the pictures I'll show probably in my carousel is the disaster my painting was, because I left that place so fast that I couldn't even finish my painting. Plus, I wanted to get over to karaoke with Faye. So it was a cool event. I don't want to make it seem like it wasn't. I just got triggered. And like I said, everybody was super friendly and it was fine at first. And then on top of that, the lady asked me if I wanted an apron. And she said, you know, if you get paint on your pretty swimsuit, it won't come out. And so I was like, no, I don't need an apron. I'm fine. Needless to say, for the first time at a paint event, I dropped my fucking brush on my bathing suit. So one of the pictures I'll show is the paint on my swimsuit. But, you know, sometimes in life things happen and I'm just going to let it be. And it's not too bad of a stain. But I'm like, man, why didn't I just listen to the lady and not act like I'm so big and bad and just get an apron? So anyway, let me see what else I wrote in my notes about the event. I said I'm going to post a carousel, so I got that. Growing up in Oakland, I'll talk about that one day as a story. Last night I forgot my water bottle. I talked about that, was having fun, and I'll post some pictures and videos from that. But then I got triggered. And, you know, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is that as a highly sensitive person, I've experienced deep and intense emotions sometimes. And one of those is joy and laughter. And so that's really what I wanted to post about yesterday until the flying monkey came for me. And I was like, oh, fuck that. I got to change my tactic. So anyway, but also being a highly sensitive person, last night also reminded me that when I was CFO of the company that I worked in, I also sat in my office with the lights off most of the time. And I had a huge office with couch and everything. And I would work in there with my door closed and my music blasting. And one of the people on my team used to always just burst through the door and not even knock. And I had to finally tell all of them to stop doing that and to respect my boundaries. And so I've always known how to take care of myself and done well with that. But anyway, yesterday sensory overload reminded me of that. So I'm going to pause here because, like I said, I like to keep the videos shorter because they otherwise take too long to upload. And I don't care if I have 10 videos in the same outfit on my page. The point is that it's my fucking page, so get over it. And if you don't like it, keep scrolling, baby. Anyway, we're moving on to the next video.